Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and we'll continue with our study of Ansible. We started looking at Ansible 2 days ago. We basically it's like an extension for the phase 5 of our journey, which is infrastructure as code. I felt the need to after covering Terraform, which is the infrastructure provisioning tool. I felt the need to actually look at Ansible because I don't know, for some reasons, most people don't, a lot of people don't really look towards that aspect, but I feel it's also important, right? While I won't be going so deep into Ansible, I'll give just enough for a start, for a beginner level. The first day, which was 2 days ago, we talked about infrastructure configuration. We talked about Ansible and what Ansible um, does, how Ansible has moved from just infrastructure configuration to other things like provisioning, deployment, network automation, and the likes. We looked at the reason why Ansible shines over other tools in the sense that it uses YAML and all the likes. And yesterday, like for yesterday, we started trying our hands on one or two things. Basically, what we did yesterday was covering um Ansible adult commands. Yes, so we used adult commands and we used it to do quite a few things. We provisioned two servers as our managed node. We configured the managed node, um how our control node will connect to the managed node and all of that. So if you missed that, it will really be beneficial to you to take a look at those videos before coming to this one. So today's probably going to be the last day for Ansible for this particular journey. Now, like I said, there's a whole lot that Ansible does. So you can maybe in your spare time you can check out other areas of Ansible. There's so many things. There's Ansible Galaxy, there's Ginger 2 templating, there's Ansible roles, variables, and all of that. And if I'm going to do that to take like another, let's say to take maybe up to 10 days or more to cover Ansible in detail, right? So, but I'm just going to do the little that I can do. I'll do what is enough to start your Ansible journey. The very, very basic is what I'm going to do. And today, what we'll be focusing on is the playbooks. We're going to focus on the playbooks. I said yesterday we used add command, and then today we're going to um focus on playbooks and everything that it entails. So without wasting so much time, let's get into the business of today. Before I start talking about playbooks, I would like to go back to our terminal. I want to confirm that all the hosts can still be connected to, because I know that my VMs, I turned off my VM after I was done with the last recording, and then but they are back on now. But it's good to always check if your control node can connect to the manage node, and that is one of the reasons why you need a why you need to be conversant with adult commands, because you can quickly run a ping. So I run a ping now on, and I targeted all the hosts, and so far my control node can talk to the manage node. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to do usually when if you've been following this series, whenever we provision a new Ubuntu server, the first thing we do is we run sudo apt update and sudo apt upgrade. So I didn't do that yesterday. I'm going to do that now. I'm not going to use the playbook. I'll use the adult command. Basically, I'll use the shell modules. I introduced those two modules. Yes, and while we only covered two, there are other modules that we can actually use. We will also be looking at them. We'll be looking at maybe like two more in this video. Then during the personally on your own, you can decide to explore. There are a lot of other modules for you to work with. So I'm just going to do Ansible -I. I'm going to indicate my inventory file, inventory.ini, and I want to use the shell module. And remember, shell module has an argument, and so you have to put the command you want, the shell command you want to run. The ping module does not require any extra arguments, right? So that's why we can just do hyphen m ping and then you target whatever manage host you want to target. So I'm going to just run sudo apt update and sudo apt upgrade, right? And I think that should be all. And then I'll target all. So basically, if you notice now that all these commands that you're actually seeing new, right, they are not new commands. They are commands that we are already conversant with, right? But it's just that's that's to show you that it's not like it's a new thing. We're just trying to automate things that we would do repeatedly, right? Things that are repetitions. It's basically just how to automate things and make things easier for us to actually work with or work on, as the case may be. So let's see if this is going to work. Sudo apt update and sudo apt upgrade, and I'm targeting both the host one and host two. So let's see. So while that is running, then we can now get into the business of today. So I just want to make sure that this is working fine without any errors. If there's errors, we'll look at what exactly the issue is, and then we try to fix it. So okay, while waiting for that, I guess let's just go into what we have for today. So basically, what are playbooks? Playbooks are, I think, let me create a new, that deserves a new slide. So we are going to look at Ansible playbooks. Yes, Ansible playbooks. So what are Ansible playbooks? Same way Chef has the cookbook. Okay, this is my year up. Same way Chef has the cookbooks, Ansible has playbooks, and playbooks is just basically um, a file that you define what you want Ansible to do on your managed host or your managed nodes. Basically, that is what I don't know who gave them the idea of calling it a playbook. I have no idea. And but that's not the bone of contention for today. So playbooks are basically just files. They are files that you can use to define how you want your resource to be configured, right? And like I said, Ansible Ansible is written in YAML, so definitely playbooks have an extension of .yaml or .yml, depending on how you want to or how you choose to write your YAML. So basically, that is what playbooks are in a nutshell. Um, it's nothing too big like that. It's just a normal thing. And then what are contained in playbooks? What playbooks houses plays, right? Playbooks houses plays, and each play is a description of what you or how do I say it now? Playbook houses the plays, and each play contains the task you want your control node to actually, or you want Ansible to actually execute on your managed node. So let me put that in writing. So playbook contains plays and which okay contains plays which contains or which defines the task you want Ansible to run on your managed node. So it's as simple as that. Playbooks contain plays which defines the task that you want Ansible to run on your management. Meaning, when we have something like plays, it means that the playbook can contain one or more plays. That means one single playbook can be used to carry out different tasks. Let's check if this is already working. This is still not working. I do not know why. Okay, let's continue. When it's time, we'll see how to resolve that. Okay, so now playbooks contain plays, which defines the task you want Ansible to run on your managed node. Now, just the way we do with other tools that we have worked with, every tool has a building block. When we looked at YAML, we defined the building blocks of writing a YAML file. When we looked at Jenkins, we defined a building block of writing a Jenkins file. When we looked at Docker, same thing. When we looked at GitHub Actions, the same thing. When we looked at Terraform, the same thing. So definitely, Ansible Playbooks is not excluded. So there are building blocks that you must follow to make things very easy for you when you're writing a playbook. Now, what are the building blocks of a playbook? The first thing you want to do in a playbook is to indicate these three dashes. That is the first thing you want to do. It is, will I say, I don't want to say it's the most important, but if not the most important, it's maybe the second most important thing in a playbook. Always indicate these three dashes in at the top of your playbook, right? Then the next thing is the name. The name basically is you can write any name you want to give your playbook. That is the next thing. Then host, host. I think host or hosts. Either host or I think is it host or host? We'll confirm that. Either host or host, one of the two. So now host is the managed node you want that playbook to run on. That's which nodes are you targeting for those particular for that particular play to actually run on, not playbook play. So which host are you targeting for that particular play to run on? And then the next thing is you need to define a user. You need to define a user. I'm going to put um, user slash become. So if you don't define a user, Ansible will use the user that you've configured on that host. For example, the two managed nodes that we set up in the previous video, the user that was configured for those managed nodes was tech.sam. So if you don't specify the user, it's going to automatically pick up tech.sam as the user. And now that user does not have root privileges. And there are some things that you want to do that you need root privileges to actually carry out. So if you don't define or if you don't define your user rather, you might run into one or two errors. And now, what does become mean? Become basically is if you want to run a play with root privilege, right? If you want to run a play with root privilege, you just become, and then it's a key value pair. So it's just what you do is no, not a key value pair. Sorry, it's like a dictionary, right? So become for become one of the options. The most likely option you will use is yes. So become means is this running as root? And your answer is yes. So it's only on few occasions that you have become, and then your answer will be no. Because for you to want to use become in the first place, it means you want to run that particular play as a root user. So when we practicalize this thing, you will see this in real sense. Now, the most important part of your play is what? The task. And task is a list. Task is a list, right? So, and each list contains what? Modules. Modules. So you can see that modules is very, very important. So you can have a task that performs three things, or yes, that that performs three things, and then you are using three modules for module modules. So this is in a nutshell, this is the structure or this is the building block of a play or a playbook, as the case may be. No, let me use play. Yes, because playbook is just the file. It contains play. So this is what is a single play will look like, right? You have the name of what you want to give the play, the host, which host are you targeting, the user, and then most importantly, the task. And to carry out the task, each task is a module is a module. So modules are very, very important. So just the way we use modules to um to quickly run our ad hoc commands on our target nodes. Each task also contains a module. So that is that about that. So I hope we've been able to understand what Ansible playbooks are. We know what it means, and we know how to, the building blocks of a play, right? So we're going to get our hands dirty. So we're just going to do a quick demo and then wrap it up for the day. So let's check. This is still not going through. So let me cancel this. Okay, let me see if I can run apt updates, sudo apt updates on just web. Okay, so let me see if I can do sudo apt update on host 2, which is a web. So let's see if that works, and then we can go ahead and write our play. Okay, so blah blah blah. Okay, host 2 change that. The package can be upgradable. Okay, so I think, let me see. So let's see. Okay, so I think sudo apt update worked on both servers. I think what was taking time was the upgrade. Well, that's not about that. We can leave that. If we want, it will eventually still work, but then it will take a whole lot of time. And I don't want this video to be so long. So now, how do we work on playbooks? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick demo. What I will do is that I'm going to configure both servers or both managed hosts as a web server. I'll install Nginx on the web server, and then I have an HTML page, and I have a website, a quick website, which I just built with AI. So I'm going to copy that into the the Nginx configuration, and then those two servers are going to serve that website. So that's basically what we are going to do today. Let me highlight what we are going to do for today, and that should give a quick overview of how to work with playbooks. So we are going to, what do we do first? We install Nginx on Nginx, Nginx on manage nodes, and then copy HTML to Nginx configuration, config, and access the web page from each managed managed node. So we are doing three things. We'll install Nginx, we'll copy HTML, and then we'll try to access our web page. This is something that should not be new to us again, because there's a separate video, there's a dedicated video for Nginx. And throughout almost at every phase this um of this series, we worked with Nginx. So Nginx should not be a new thing to us again. We know how Nginx interface looks like on a basic level. So without wasting much time, I'm going to get started. First thing we want to do is I would want to put, so when I do ls-l, so I have, this is the HTML page, Spectrum Tech e-commerce page. So this is it. So create I'm going to create a file, a folder rather, mkdir. I'll do Ansible, or let me say in the playbooks. I create a playbooks folder, and let me see if I can open the folder here. And okay, so that's folder. So okay, so it's giving me another window. Fair enough. Okay, new terminal. And okay, I'll change to WSL. Give it a few seconds for it to come up. Okay, good. Coming to cd.dot. Um, okay, Ansible version. Okay, Ansible is still installed. So I'm going to copy I'll go back to okay, no, let me just do copy. I want to copy the INI file, that's the inventory file, as well as the HTML file. I want to copy it into this playbooks folder. I can do what we want to do for today. So let me copy inventory.ini, and what's the second one? What's the second one? I've forgotten. Spectrum. Okay. So I'm going to copy it to slash playbooks. Okay. So okay, so I have the INI file here now, and I have the HTML file here. Good. So let me see if I can still ping Ansible inventory.playbooks module ping, and I'm pinging all. Is that correct? Let's see. Let's see if I can still ping my managed node. So if I get a success response, then we are good to go. Okay, so we can reach both hosts. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to group, instead of having the app and the web, I'm just going to group them as web servers. So I'm going to target both. So now they are both web servers. So what we want to do is that we want to write our playbook. So the first thing we want to do is to create a file called what do I name the file now? Let me see. Playbook1.yaml. Playbook1.yaml. Is that correct? Playbook1. Okay. Okay. So anyone. I prefer YAML. Okay, good. So now how do we write our how do we know what is contained in a particular play? You might be wondering, okay, where do we figure that out and all of that? That is why we have the documentation page. From the Ansible documentation page, you can see what you want to do. Like, well, you can see how you can write it, and then you can also use your you've already installed the plugins, so your IDE can give you suggestions and all of that. But I'm not going to be looking into that first. I would want us to check the documentation first before yeah, first things first. So we want to first thing we want to do is we want to do these three dots, right? Want to do three dots, and then what's the name of our playbook? So okay, it's bringing a name, deploy web application. Okay, the host, see, it's already suggesting host, web servers, and I want to I did not send you. I did not send you. Okay, so the task is already showing us what we are going to do. Basically, it's saying install Nginx, start the Nginx, and then copy. So now we are looking at three things. I'm not going to use this, but I'll use it to explain. So first off, we are saying after the name, the name of the first task is install Nginx, and the first thing we are seeing is apt. Now, what does that apt mean? Apt is a module. Like I told you, every task is a list of modules. Apt is a module. If you go to the second one, you're starting the Nginx. Service is a module, and copy is a module. So we are working with three modules. We've worked with the ping module, we've worked with the shell module. Now we're going to work with three extra modules, which is the app, the service, and the copy rather. So I'm not going to use even though this is technically correct, this is technically correct. I'm not going to use that. So I'm just going to use become yes. And so let's go to our documentation and see what we have for today. So we stopped at the Ansible idle command. This is for idle command. So we're going to look for where we can find modules. And okay, so under references and appendix, we'll see indexes of all modules and plugins. So I think we'll go there. We'll click that and let's see. Okay, so indexes of all modules. And then these are all the modules that you have. You have Amazon AWS module, you have the Ansible built-in modules, we have the Ansible utils, Ansible Windows modules, Ansible AWS Azure collection modules. That's why you can see that Ansible can work with different um, web providers, and that's why some people can still be able to use Ansible for infrastructure provisioning because there is a module for you to actually get all of this. But what we are most in you can if we go down, if we want to go down, it's just so much that we can't cover all the modules and we can't even work with it's not even realistic for you to work with all the modules. You just work with just a few number of modules. But what we are most important or what we are most concerned about is the built-in modules. Yes, so everything we are going to be working on, we are going to use the Ansible built-in modules because these are modules that are already built in. They are modules that are developed by Ansible. So we are going to use Ansible built-in modules to do everything that we want to do. And now remember, if I come here, we saw three modules that we are going that um our our extension gave us. We saw the apps module, we saw the service module, and we saw the copy module. We saw app module, copy module, and service module. So the first thing you want to do is you can go and then search for apt. So if you do your control find and you type apt, so it's going to bring, you can see it here, Ansible built-in.apt. So what you're looking for is Ansible built-in, but the dot is what matters most. So we are looking for .apt. So when you click on it, you can see it manages apt packages. So yeah, what it does is manage apt package. Basically, you can use it to install, you can use it to uninstall, and all of that. So you can go through all of these, but I want to show you the example. So this is an example of what we can do, and then you can see that it's not too different from what our extension suggested from us. So you can see to install a package, this is the code snippet to install a package. To update repository, this is it. To remove a package, this is it. To install a package, blah blah blah. To install a list of packages, you can see everything that you do with the apt module is already there. They give you examples, right? They give you examples. And yeah, then I want to check something. Let's see. Ansible, Ansible doc -l. Let me see. This is I think Let's see what this is going to bring. While I'm waiting for that to bring feedback. So I'm just going to copy this. We want to install. So I'm just going to copy and I'll come here. I'll just change what needs to be changed. Okay, so and then task. Okay, so now if you see now Ansible doc-l, it lists all the modules that we actually saw there. So apart from um apart from what do you call it? Apart from the Ansible documentation, if you don't have access to maybe an online documentation, maybe you can't really get hold of documentation, you can just use the command Ansible-doc. Then you can do -l. It will list everything. Then let's see. So okay, so let's do Ansible doc and um let's see apt. Let's see if this will give us any output. So we are looking for, oh, good. So you can see Ansible doc apt. It's the same thing. It manages apt packages for Debian and Ubuntu. And you should be able to see how to use it. Okay, if you scroll down, you should be able to see an example of how you're going to use it. Let me see. Good. So you can see that it is the same example. So basically, it is exactly what is in the documentation page that is also here. So you can either get it from the documentation page or you can actually come here and pick it up. So you just press Q to quit and task, task. So I'm going to do this and no, I don't want this. So I'm just going to paste what's going on. I copied this now, didn't I? Let me see, copy. So I'm going to paste it here. Okay, so good. So the first task is to install Nginx. So install Nginx on web servers, and I'm using the Ansible built-in apt. That's the apt module. It's exactly what I can see here. And the name of this, I'll change it to from Apache to Nginx. So I'm just going to accept this. So the state is present. Basically, what this means is that state is present means make sure that it is available, like make sure that it is installed. If I change this state from present to absent, that means you don't want Nginx to be installed on this web server. If it finds Nginx in the web servers, it's going to uninstall it. But if the state is present, what it does is that it will check if Nginx is not installed on the web server, it will install it. If it is installed on the web server, it's going to leave it. So in a way, we can say Ansible is also idempotent. Basically, what idempotent means is that when you run a command repeatedly, it does not really change the outcome if it has been successful the first time. If you run a command, or if you run a script the first time and it's successfully completed, if you run it again without making any changes, no changes will be made, right? Yes, it will not throw you an error. So you can say the Ansible, apart from being agentless, Ansible can also be said to be idempotent, right? So okay, so now that's as been done. I don't think this host. I think hosts should be hosts. I'm going to confirm. Let me confirm here. Let me do Ansible playbook. Ansible playbook syntax. I want to confirm this. I want to check. Okay, so while that is coming up, So now we have the apt module. What we need next is what? The service module. So we'll go back and let's see if we can see the service module. So we can see it here. I think I saw it. Okay. So see it manage services. So we'll click on it and we'll see how it can be used. So the first what we want to do is start a service if it is not started already. If it's not started, you start it. If it's started already, it will not do anything. So like I said, Ansible is idempotent. So let's see. Good. So it's actually HOSTS. I wanted to confirm that. Okay. HOSTS. HOS. Okay. Oh, that's even what I wrote. Change this to name. Okay. So now we've used the apt module. So now this installs Nginx. And next thing you want to do is start Nginx service, obviously. So start Nginx service and good. So that's the main advantage of having extensions. They help you format your writings to ensure that it is actually fine. Okay, so start service Nginx if it is not started. So it's using the Ansible built-in and service module. So the name is Nginx, the state is started, right? Started. If you go back here, if you go back here and you want to stop it, you change the name from started to stop. So it's just basically writing English. It's very, very easy to write. Sorry. So from the documentation page and from the Ansible hyphen docs, you can they've made it very, very, very easy and very, very possible for you to write hundreds of lines of playbooks. You can write several playbooks, several plays in a single playbook. You can write several playbooks and then it's going to actually work. So what we are going to do next is next thing is uh, let me confirm copy. Okay, good. So we are going to go back to the documentation page. We're looking for the copy module C C C C C. Okay, so we are copying files to remote location. So copy and let's go and see how it is used. Okay, copy file with owner and permission. So I'm going to use this first one. So when you want to use when you want to use other additions and all of that, that's when you can look through the other ones. But on a basic level, the first one is usually the basic ones is always the first options. So I believe this is we have all we need. So sorry. So I'm going to do this. Okay. Destination is I think is slash no slash var. Okay. Slash var slash www slash html. So the source, so my source is this is the same, the playbook and my HTML page is in the same folder. So I'm just going to use a relative path, right? So I will do spec. Let me just copy it so that I don't. Let's yeah. So I'm just going to copy this. So copy and okay. So I'm copying this HTML page into var.www.html. If you've like I said, if you've followed all this while, we've worked with Nginx a whole lot of time. So we will know that Nginx places it the default Nginx homepage can be found in var.www.html. So we are going to override or we're going to yeah we're going to override that and put this particular one there. So I think I should. I think I want to rename this. I want to rename this. Rename. Let me just put index. Oh, yeah, index.html. So I'll copy index.html. So I'm copying index.html to this particular folder, and the owner is root. The group is root also, because we need root privileges to be able to access that particular folder. So our play is complete. This is a single play. This is a single play. We're deploying a web application. The host is a web server. That's those two web servers. That's the host. Become yes, which is we're running this as with a root privilege, and then we're going to install Nginx. We'll start the service, and then um we'll copy file, blah blah blah, and all of that. So okay, that's pretty much all. So let me clear fingers crossed. So remember when we wanted to use our Ansible add command, we just used Ansible. So, but when we want to work with playbooks, we'll use Ansible playbook. So we use Ansible playbook, and we are going to state we're still going to state the inventory file, and then we'll use okay. So Ansible playbook inventory file and then the name of the playbook, right? So let's run this and see if it works. If we have any issues, we'll troubleshoot it. So let's see. Okay, a playbook must be a list of plays. Oh, oh, okay, 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 good. There's supposed to be is a list of plays. Is a list of plays. So supposed to let me do tab, and then there's supposed to be like it's supposed to be like this one here. Good. Okay, nice. It's a list of plays. So it's since it's a list, I'm supposed to indicate that it is a list. So that was not indicated. So save that and then run it again. And let's see. Let's see. Okay, it's already running. It's deploying web. The first thing is it's gathering the facts. Basically, what gathering of facts means is it's trying to ensure that it can reach the two hosts or whatever host that has been deployed. So that has been defined. So you can see now it's showing OK for host one and OK for host two. So both hosts are reachable. So it's going to now execute the task on each of the hosts. So it will take a while, but let's give it a few more time. Okay, install Nginx on the server. Okay, changed 0. Started Nginx service. If not started, it's saying okay. Okay, and then let's see if it's going to copy the file and um okay, so we have OK4 changed to unreachable 0, failed 0. So let us confirm that we have um let us confirm that what we did was actually correct. So this is basically what it did. It just basically first thing is it gathers facts. Gathering of facts means trying to reach the managed host. And you can see now that host 1 was reachable and host 2 were reachable. So immediately it's able to reach those hosts. It starts executing the task that has been defined in the plane. As you can see, the name given to it is what is here. Install Nginx on web server, start service Nginx if not started, copy file, blah blah blah. So let's go to this place and we're going to check we're going to check it. But remember, Nginx runs on port 80. And if we try to access it, okay, let me just copy it. Let me click on it. I know we know this already, but I mean just for um benefit of doubt. So if I try to access, let me copy this. This is the public IP. So let me copy the public IP and let me paste it here. If I try to access it, it is not going to go through. Why? Because by default, NSG blocks everything. We only allowed port 22 for SSH. So what we're going to do now is that we'll go to our NSG network settings, and then we'll allow port 80, right? We'll allow port 80. We'll configure the inbound rule. So we can see now that it is only port 22 that is allowed. Then deny all inbound is there by default. So let's go and create inbound port row. And so this is let me use my IP address. My IP address destination any blah 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 80 destination port 8080. Let's see HTTP. Is HTTP. Okay. So I'm going to use, let me do 250 priority. The name is allow Nginx. By now we should know how to configure your NSGs. So what did I do here? I'm allowing my PC, that's my personal laptop, to be able to have access to this virtual machine. And I'm opening port 80 because Nginx runs on port 80. So I'm opening port 80, which is HTTP, for us to be able to access the website. So let me click on add. And once that is done, we'll try again and see if we can access the web page. Now, before we access the web page, we all know what an average Nginx web page looks like, right? Let me go and show you Nginx web page. The Nginx default web page. Let me search for images. Let's see. Okay, this is a typical example of what the default Nginx web page looks like. So I want to show us. So normally, once we open the port 80, we're not supposed to see this. If we see this, it means our file was not successfully copied, right? It was not copied. But if we don't see this, if we see whatever the web page is, that means our little project was successful. So let's go and check now. So I think the NSG should already be in play. So I'm going to go and great. So now this is the website that we are seeing. So you can see it. It's a web page. So it is different from what we are seeing here. This is supposed to be what we're going to see as a default Nginx web page, but we are seeing this, and you can see the URL. So that means what we did was successful. So we're going to go to the second, as our manage node 2, and we'll do the same thing and we'll see if we can access it. Okay, network settings, create role, inbound role, and source. Use any source. This time I'm not using any. I'm not using my IP. Destination any. Blah blah blah. Custom HTTP, and I'll do the same thing. 250, and allow Nginx. Okay, and I'll add it. So you can even make this into a project for yourself. If it's something that you can use it as a project you've done with Ansible, and you can incorporate it with Terraform. You can use Terraform to provision the infrastructure, and then use Ansible to do the configuration. It can be a joint project with Terraform and Ansible. There are so many ways in which you can tweak this project to something that you can put on your resume, right? So I'm going to go back to the overview, and I'll take my public IP. So you can see this IP is different from the other one. So if I should input the public IP, I should get the same web page. I should get the same web page. If I see something different, and that means there's something wrong, and there isn't. So it's the same web page, but the IP address is different. So you can see 20.86.178.169, while this is 51.136.91.48. So we've deployed the same web page to two backend nodes. Imagine this was like 100 servers now. We just we basically just ran, we just wrote these few lines. It's not even up to 25 lines, just 21 lines. And then with just 21 lines of whatever whatever, I don't know if you call it code or anything, we've been able to deploy a web a static web page to two different websites and using Ansible. So you can try this out on your by your own self, and if you have any challenges, you can feel free to drop your challenge in the comments. If you've enjoyed the video so far, please do well to like the video, and also share it with your friends that need assistance on Ansible or DevOps or what or tech as a whole. Subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to turn your notification bell. So I'll be ending the part of Ansible, and then the whole phase 5, which is infrastructure as code. This will be the last video for it. The next video will be looking at something else, right? So like I said, basically we just scratched the surface of Ansible. There are a whole lot more of things that you can do with Ansible, but maybe if there is a dedicated playlist for Ansible, then we can now start going deep into Ansible and seeing the various things that we can do with Ansible. But for now, I feel like these three videos we've done on Ansible is enough to get you started. Like I always say, nobody will spoon feed you, right? Nobody will spoon feed you. You're only going to be given the nudge to get started. And then you have to start discovering and finding things by yourself, right? So that's me signing off for today. I'll see you on the next one. Enjoy the rest of your day. Cheers.